All right, I'm gonna work out all the multiple choice questions. If you need help, you can jump ahead to the right one. I guess to save you time, I could tell you the answers to all of them. E, C, B, C, E, A, D, E, B, E. So there you go. In fact, how convenient. The numbers are right next to them. All right, let's go through this. So this is creates a 2D array. The dimension is 4, meaning it's 4 by 4. But remember, the index values, the rows go from 0 to 3, and the columns go from 0 to 3. So then they're saying, hey, what does sum contain after this code executes? Well, sum starts at 0, and here they're clearly adding up everything somewhere. And let's look. This goes through all the rows. Now, instead of dim, they could have said mat.length, but it's the same value for here. So this is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3. That's all the rows. And then the column is fixed, though, at dim minus 1. And so dim is 4. That means the column is fixed at 3. So it's basically saying add up 2, 4, 6, and 8. And those add up to 20. That's how we got E there. All right, so for this problem, let's look. When you add A, okay, it puts it in, and then when you add B, it throws it on the end, and you add C, it throws it on the end. But when you add D here at index 0, it puts it at the beginning. And when you remove 3, it gets rid of the C. That was the third term. And then if you add an E at item 0, that's an E right there. And then you print it, you get EDAB, EDAB, or C. All right, so this one, we've got fox, and then it adds squirrel at index 0, which puts it at the front. And then when it adds deer, it puts it at the end. And then when it adds groundhog at index 2, that's 0, 1, 2, doesn't replace it, it just adds it and moves deer over. And then it adds mouse. Oh, I'm sorry, it didn't add, sorry, boy, I'm glad I caught that. It didn't add groundhog at 2, it set number 2 to groundhog. So let's get back to what we were, deer. 0, 1, 2. So instead of the word deer here, we have groundhog, because it replaced deer with groundhog, and then it inserted mouse at item 1. So 0, 1. This isn't a replace, it's just an insert. All right, and then it prints out the animals at 2 and 3 with the word and between them. And so that's fox and groundhog, which is B. Awesome. All right. So this one is a recursive method, and it's a lot like the Fibonacci sequence. You look, it's going to keep calling the previous 2 numbers added together until the numbers get down to 0 and 1. So when it's 0, I'm going to write it like this. So when you call this function and get a 0, you get 0. And with the number 0. When you call it with number 1, you get a 2. Okay. And then when you call it with 2, you get the previous 2 added together. That's 0 plus 2. So you get another 2. When you call it with 3, you get the previous 2 added together, which is 2 plus 2, or 4. And when you call it with 4, you get the previous 2 added together, which is 6. And when you call it with 5, you get the previous 2 added together, which is 4 plus 6, or 10. And when you call it with 6, you get the 10 plus the 6 added together, which is 16. And that is C. Now that's how I would work that out. I'm sure there's other ways. All right, let's take a look at this. This is a for loop that goes through an array, numbers, and adds 1 to everything. See how it does this? It goes from 0 to just under the length, and it adds 1 to each number. So they're saying, hey, which of these code segments will do the same thing? So all 3 of these are enhanced for loops, and none of these actually do the same thing. None of these. When you use an enhanced for loop with an array, you're always getting a copy of the number in this other variable. So you can add one to the copy, but the variable in the original array is unchanged. So the answer to this is none of these will return an equivalent result. That's because these are all three of these are enhanced for loops, and enhanced for loops don't make changes to the original item. That's why I put this on here. That's a good thing to remember. Whew. All right. So this code segment, assume that str has been declared and initialized. And what you can see is this thing, there's this whole bunch of animals, and it's going to count. It's trying to count how many animals have this string in their in them. So if you were looking for the letter O, you'd get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 back. This is what is supposed to happen, but they're saying it doesn't work quite right. Which of the following should be made so that it would work right? Hopefully you can see right here, this is the red flag. You don't very often do a less than or equal to here. You could, but you'd have to say less than or equal to length minus 1 here. But easier is to do what we normally do, just to say I less than animals.length instead of getting it less than or equal to. Remember, if the length is 10, the last index is 0. So you don't do a less than or equal to the length unless you're doing like a -1 somewhere inside, anyway, pretty rare. So anyway, the answer to question 6 is A. Let's go to question 7. Okay, here's an array list, theater club. It's going to hold student objects. They're saying assume there's a student class that works. What would the rest of this line be? It would be D right here, this thing, array list student. I mean, that was pretty easy. This is an inheritance question because you see it says public class artwork extends artifact. So let's look. Artifact has a title, a year. The constructor just gets the title and the year and stores the variables. And then it has a method called print info, which prints the title and the year. Okay, and then the artwork extends it by adding an artist variable. And when you create one of these, it asks for the title and the year and the artist, and it calls super with the title and the year. I love this problem. It's a great little problem. But then it sets the artist itself. Now, they want this thing to print The Starry Night by Van Gogh. And to do that, they're saying you need to, what do you have to put right here that would make this whole thing print out? So let's take a look. If you called super.printinfo, first of all, you never call printinfo doesn't take an argument. So you wouldn't put something inside here. Like you don't do toString and then put something inside the toString, and in the same way you wouldn't do printinfo here. You don't want to print anything because printinfo already prints it. This isn't a toString method. It doesn't return the text that you have to print. So we can right now get rid of these two things. You're not printing, like you can call super printinfo, and in fact we're going to, but you don't print that because it's already printing. Super printinfo prints something, so you can't put that into a print call. Okay, so this won't work because you don't have access in the child class. You don't have access to title and year. So look down here. In artwork, you don't have access to title and year because they're private variables up in artifact. So anyway, that's why that doesn't work. This doesn't work because you don't call a method with an argument if there's no argument in the method. This doesn't work because you can't print super.printinfo. This calls super, but you don't call super like this when you're trying to get a particular part of your super. You call super in a constructor when you want to call the parent constructor. And we're not in constructors now. We're in the print info window. So actually, just by process of elimination, we're left. It has to be E here. And the reason why is we call super print info. That prints Starry Night and the year, and then we print out by artist afterwards. So this first call calls the parent print info, and it prints. And notice it doesn't go to a new line. There's no ln here, so this works fine. It prints that first part out, and then it prints the second part out. So anyway, answer is E. A lot of talking for a short answer. All right, this is a recursive binary search problem, and I put this on because I wanted you to remember that the binary search takes the both ends and finds the middle. It takes the left side and the right side divided by 2, and it checks if that one is the thing it's looking for, and if it is, it returns that value, and if it's not, then it goes either to the left half or the right half. So, and the code's all right here. You could decode it if you wanted to, but this one actually works out pretty fast. We're searching for the number 4. How do I know? Because if you look here, it's here's the whole array, here's the left side, here's the right side, and here's the number we're searching for. So so let's see how long this thing is. 0, 1. Well, the thing is 6 characters long. So the left side is 0, the right side is 5. You know, the length minus 1. So we come up here in the code. 0 plus 5 divided by 2 is 2. Remember, it's integer math. And so then it's going to check, hey, is the item at index 2 equal to the thing we're searching for? In this case, it is 0, 1, 2. This is a 4. And so it's going to return 2. So I just walked you through a binary search. If you don't remember that, there could easily be a binary search problem on the multiple choice section. You could go back in the AP Classroom and watch one of their videos on it, or you could watch my video on it. See, they were obviously testing, do you know which one of these 4s is it going to find? Because you might have been like, oh, it starts on the 5 and then it gets this one, but if you do what this code does, which is it has a 0 and a 5, the far left and the far right, adds them together and you get 2, 0, 1, 2, and that happens to be 4. So boom, you right there get the answer. And we got one more problem. What would do this crazy function? Well, it starts off with a square root on the outside. So I'm trying to do process of elimination. Nope, they all have square roots on the outside. Secondly, the first 3 all have these little carets. That you don't do these little caret symbols in Java. That's totally not Java. So eliminate A through C. D does absolute value with a comma. Like you're going to do absolute value, comma. What does that mean? Anyway, so the answer is E. It takes x plus y and squares it, and it takes a minus b and does the absolute value on the bottom, and it's all inside of a square root. So the answer is E. And there you go. Whoop, I was trying to get to that.